And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast. Along with my partner, Brian Siegler, I am Curtis Wilson. And as always, we are brought to you by Dr. Jeremy Counts down at the Counts Family Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy, 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg. We are also brought to you by Moments on the Maury. If you need a weekend getaway next spring, summer, or fall, Moments on the Maury may be exactly what you are looking for. Owned by a proud Hokie just outside Lexington, Virginia. Great place to go, right on the river, right out the back door. Canoeing, fishing. I mean, heck, there's even a little spot if you want to send the kids out back to have them camp a night in nature. You can do it. It's a nice little flat spot out there, right next to the river. So check out their link in the comment section or Moments on the Maury on Instagram. Brian, two-man show again. Tally busy studying. Shelton, I don't know. I just think they just like randomly email Shelton like on Sunday night and say, "What are you doing on Tuesday? Okay, could you do this?"
Basically.
I mean, basically, what's
You know,
going on? How have you been, brother?
man, it's been a fun week so far. It's been a fun week. Unfortunately, my Colts took a tough loss to the Steelers. I've had to hear about that a little bit this week.
Oh yeah.
That happens when you turn the ball over six times. Having a -5 ratio there is not the way to win a football game.
Mm-mm.
But I mean, it took that level of
Oh, sorry.
catastrophe to lose by one touchdown. So I guess you can kind of chalk that up to, we'll get them next week.
That's the only thing you can do, and then your boys make the uh, maybe the biggest play. Maybe the biggest play. What's going on, Kent from Halifax? Go out and get Sauce Gardner, sure, secondary. Give up two ones now.
Yeah, and a Donnie Mitchell. So I mean, we didn't, not for nothing, but at the same time, you got to spend money to make money sometimes. So at this point, we needed some help at that position. I think that's going to be a big boost for us. I think Mitchell had some. I was actually more shocked to lose Mitchell than I was the two first on this deal. But
Yeah.
you know what? I mean, we've got enough depth at wide receiver at this point, at least from the front line perspective. But it would have been nice to see what Mitchell could do as he developed more in this system. But you know what? Let's try to win one this year.
Yeah. Okay. That's the goal, huh? Danny Dimes on the cheap.
You know what, man? I mean, at this point, you get Danny Dimes on the cheap. You had a pretty decent roster rolling into this year, but you had so many question marks, especially at the most important position. And all of a
Oh
sudden, it's
yeah.
like, okay, well, we look pretty good there. Let's turn it up to 11 and see what happens.
Do you think y'all pay him significant money? Because it's a 1 year deal, right?
Yeah. At this point, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if we, you know, try. Depending on what happens this year, if we try to throw a franchise tag on him or something, try to play it out a little bit longer and then let it ride and see if we can get some consistency out of him. Because what I don't want to happen is what happened in New York, where you ended up paying a
Fool's
lot of
gold.
money and yeah, you paid a lot of money and all of a sudden it's like, wait a second,
Not the same
you
guy.
don't look like the same guy without Saquon back there. So
100%. 100%. Well, we shall see halfway through the NFL season. And, we are now in the home stretch of the college football season. While in the infancy of college basketball season, we are
yeah,
going to talk about the game last night, which I actually watched almost 70% of that game. I
look at
watched a
you.
significant, and you did too, because you watched a little bit. But
I watched pretty much all of it. Yeah,
good for you. I watched 70%. I was proud of myself. What I missed, and we'll talk about it later, is the big run. Because I had to leave at halftime, put a kid to bed, and then come back, and it's like, oh, I don't know, might as well finish watching it. But
oh shit, okay.
but, but we are here to tell the truth Tuesday. We'll tell the truth about basketball and some other things later. But we do have to start with what happened on Saturday afternoon in Lane Stadium as the Louisville Cardinals, not to our surprise, take care of the Hokies 28-16, unfortunately. And we always tell the truth. We do the good, the bad, the ugly, the unexpected. So I got to say, Brian, to me, what went well was for the longest times, it seemed like our starts had been slow. And it wasn't Saturday. The opening drive was, but then the rest of the first quarter was really positive for the team.
Yeah, I mean, you came out, you felt pretty good about the way they kind of set the tone. It was one of those games that even as things started to kind of turn for us, it never felt like we were out of it. We felt like if we could just get just a little push, just a little bit here, just a little bit there, we might be able to get back into this thing.
Yeah.
But getting a fast start's important. We've seen. I know we're past the Pry era at this point, but this is still a Pry developed teams, and we've seen when Pry's teams have started fast, they've had a lot of success.
Yeah. No, not the fastest by any means, but just saying what we've dealt with.
Considering the way the game was going to flow, at least in the first half,
especially after they literally run two plays and score a touchdown, because that happened. My first thought was, well, I might be able to go do something at halftime. That was my first thought. Then they flip it, get the pick, tie the game up, and and that felt good. And then, just say what happened after the touchdown.
We don't want to talk about it, man. We don't want to talk about it.
The block punt. The block punt happened after the touchdown, and get you another lead, and then take a lead by 9 by half, and it felt good. But were you like me while watching it, and maybe folks in the chat were like, I was just waiting for the other shoe to drop, because Louisville's shown all year that they're a good team, and you're just waiting for it, and eventually it did.
I was sitting back and I was like, all right, well, defense is doing what they need to do. We've had one big play that kind of turned the tide a little bit. Are we going to be able to hold on? That was basically what I was looking at. Can we hold on? Can we do just enough offensively to hold on? I was definitely concerned that we hadn't shown a lot of consistency with being able to move the football down the field, even when we were getting some points on the board. So I was definitely concerned that there was going to be, I was hoping that a second half adjustment would, correct some of the things offensively that we were struggling with, and unfortunately, it just got worse from there.
Yeah, it was basically it was the second half was just bad. Like, that there was the bad, there was the over the top. I don't know.
You know what? I can sense him. Yeah.
Sense him. But the whole thing was with the bad was with the offense. It just, nothing ever happened. And then you had the one chance and the break happens. And that was just, it was just like,
that's a touchdown if you bring that in, man.
Oh my God, 8 to 10 yards of separation on it.
Stoink.
Stoink, right off top of the helmet, and then it goes. And then, what else went bad? Well, man, me and you talked about it, messaged back and forth, and other people on there too, Tally, Shelton, and a couple other folks. And literally, this game was effectively like 4 plays. 4 plays.
Yeah.
And people can sit up here and say, no, that's not the way football works. Well, when you give up a 60-yard touchdown, you give up a 60-plus yard punt return that put them inside the 5, and then 2 20-plus touchdowns, like explosive plays were the game. They did not consistently drive the field soup to nuts, 10, 12 play drive.
Yeah, they didn't do a whole lot. outside of their explosives. They really were leaning on the big plays, the turning point plays. And if you take away those, I mean, we're going to talk about it in a second because I talked about it this morning. Um, on offense, we were 3.8 yards per play.
Oh,
On the flip side of that, if you take away those explosives, Louisville was about the same. They weren't much better than that. So it's one of those things where, as bad as our offense was, the difference is that they made the plays when they were there and we didn't.
mm-hmm. That was it. They made the big ones. You know, we missed the big one. Now, you still do the math. That doesn't mean we win the game, but at least it changes momentum
Well,
on it.
it
But
changes momentum and it puts you in a position where if you make that play, the calculus of how you are running your offense and what you need to do to get the lead at the end of the game shifts. So
yeah,
the way that you're scheming, the way that you're calling, the way that you're operating is going to be a little bit different. And it gives you the ability to be a little more balanced in your attack and not feel like you've got to get it all in a handful of plays like we had to do at the end there.
yeah. But the bad thing you mentioned yards per play, but the passing offense was just not good at all. I mean,
No,
bad.
no.
Like,
We talk about it. I mean, the yardage is bad enough, 76 yards total. You look at the leading receiver for the Virginia Tech Hokies, one reception, 17 yards by Aiden Green. Yikes.
under 50% pass completion, and it's like, and I think the majority of that comes in the second half when they get down and you have to pass. You know, the one thing I will say, I don't know if you want to put this bad, whatever. At least the last 3 to 4 games, we know our identity, and we've stuck to it, and we've kept ourselves in games. Maybe give Philip Montgomery a little credit on that, but I mean, you're not going to win a lot of games in this era of college football throwing the ball like that.
Well, I think the problem is that we've seen that we go as Kyron goes, and Kyron goes as the opponent changes, as the wind blows.
Yep.
It's really the inconsistency of the play. I think has been something that it's hard to really put a finger on. I mean, we know that he is definitely more of a run first quarterback. I mean,
Always.
before we get anywhere else, but he's had games where his passing has not hurt us, and then he's had a lot of games where it has hurt us. And this was one of those games where his passing struggles, his inconsistencies, his struggles with footwork absolutely burned us to a point where we just couldn't muster enough offense to help out how well our defense played, honestly. I mean, outside of that, really the one big play to start things off there, it wasn't I don't really have a whole lot of complaints about their effort for 4 quarters.
No, the defensive game plan was the right game plan. And I mean, and like I said, after the first touchdown, it was like, this is going to be bad. But then the adjustments were made, and it took them a while to readjust to it. And then, well, we can't go full service academy, Jim. We don't have the players to do that. You know, we have a coach that could teach it, but I don't think we can fully do that. And, chop blocks suck. So, but yeah, as far as Kyron go, yeah, you're 100% right. And it's always never about yards, but more about efficiency. Because his biggest game this year outside of the Wofford game was ODU.
Ken, is that a typo or is that a type of party I should go to?
Yeah, I'm about to say. I've never been to a wedding party in Halifax and lived there many years of my life. But it's the truth. The team, his passing goes as we go. So, yeah. Let's move on to what we weren't prepared for. And somebody threw it up on there. I was not prepared to see Jeff Overton at all this season. And it was good seeing him. He got a few carries. I will say one thing that is very noticeable. No disrespect to Hawkins or Bully. That one run for 4 and like the explosive that when he got into that inside zone, that looked different. And I know you responded and you were like, yep, but Overton looked different. No disrespect to those guys, but he looked different with that one cut upfield. And it was just like he got tackled 4 yards upfield, but it was just like how quick he hit the hole was different.
Yeah, you're seeing that one cut explosiveness that you like to see in this type of offense. And I mean, I think Hawkins has a little bit of that, but he doesn't quite have that extra gear that I think we saw with Overton just being able to explode through the hole there. Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see how much he's going to get into the game as we kind of move through the rest of the season. Whether that's him wanting to get out there and contribute, and for all intents and purposes, probably put some tape out there for folks, depending on what decisions he makes at the end of this season. It's going to be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. As far as what can you do better moving forward, I mean, I think we're at the point now where we are where we are. The only thing I ask is if the defense the next 3 games can play to the level they played with, we have a puncher's chance to beat the next 3 teams. We really do.
Yeah.
But we also, if they play slightly below, it could be bloodbath. And when I say that, get whatever bottled beer, wine, whatever you like, keep it near because you're probably going to need it.
I mean, if we're looking at the, prognosticating out another week, it could be the most inconsistent playing matchup of the year when we match up with the Seminoles, man. Because that's another team that goes the way their quarterback goes, and the quarterback also goes the way of the wind. So it's certainly something that's going to be interesting to watch in a couple weeks here. You know what? It's going to be a really interesting thing to watch how teams defend us going forward. Because I mean, when you look at this game, Louisville, it looked like their game plan was, we're going to make Kyron beat us, whether it's with his legs or with his arm. We're going to make Kyron beat us.
Yep.
And Kyron had one of those games where it was an inconsistent game for him, and it showed in the way the offensive numbers stacked up. They were kind of selling out to stop the run with the running back. They were like, we're not going to let the running backs beat us. If Kyron beats us, Kyron beats us. And Kyron went out there and ran the ball pretty well overall. But we were so inconsistent passing the ball, and nobody else was getting super involved in the running game because of their scheme. And now all of a sudden, Kyron's got to do a little bit more than he probably wants to with his arm, and was just not having a good day.
Just from my eyeballs, I think I saw the safeties in the picture every snap. I don't think they ever played back in any situation. And that says a lot, because it sounds like basically they chose to play safety spy, man across the board, like, okay, beat us. And you're not going to beat us. And they're a well-coached team. Clearly, Jeff Brom's in the running for some tier 1 jobs.
Louisville has really had Kyron's number too, if we think about it. I mean,
34,
even going back to 23, man, when Kyron was having one of his better years, obviously, that was his weakest outing of the entire season. And this outing this past week was probably at least in his bottom 2 or 3, if not his worst outing.
Man,
as a quarterback. So
you want to know that game? Worse than this game. 12 for 21, 69 yards, 1 pick, 6 yards rushing.
Yeah.
The point has been made and stamped. So, yeah. So, anything else to put a bow on this one, Brian? Because, I mean, it wasn't – listen, I'll say this. It was a fun game to watch from our perspective, at least from my perspective.
It was fun and frustrating. So,
they're always frustrating.
But I'll caveat that, because I think in my mind, I'm like y'all know at this point that I'm cautiously optimistic person. That's my MO, cautiously optimistic. when you go in and you play pretty well for the first half, you get me invested just enough where you're going to tear my heart out again every time.
Mm-hmm.
If I go in there and I'm like, all right, well, we're losing, but it is what it is, all good. But they wrote me back in just enough, especially with the way the defense was playing overall. And then the wheels fall off in the third quarter, and next thing you know, we're taking that L pretty hard. Yeah, so that was frustrating for me, but at the same time, there was a lot of exciting plays that happened within the game.
Oh yeah,
and it was an interesting chess match to watch those defensive coordinators dial stuff up to keep those offenses in check.
yeah, 100%. So there it is. Hokies fall to 3-6 on the season, but met my expectations. So yeah, and put up what Steven just put up there.
Which one? This one?
Last one, and they're still fighting. They have not quit. To the credit of the coaching staff, give a lot of credit to Montgomery on that, especially after, like you said, after ODU. And then I think Tal, I can't remember if he said it on here, if he just texted it to me or you or to us. If Montgomery, are we at 5-4 or 6-3 if Philip Montgomery is the coach?
Maybe.
Couldn't be worse.
I mean, I think you probably scrape by South Carolina if Philip Montgomery's the coach out the gate.
Vanderbilt's the interesting one because a 10-point league, who knows? It's the old what if scenario. So we'll just let it stay there, Brian. If not, we're here 3 hours tonight going crazy. All right, let's flip it. Let's talk about the basketball game last night. The season has begun, and although we don't do basketball all the time, we watch the games. If anyone's ever interested in hosting a basketball podcast, reach out to us. We will more if you show the interest, have some credibility, you might have yourself a podcast show through Boundary Corner. But it was fun watching that game last night, Brian, just in general, to see the new pieces, to see Hansberry, obviously Neo, and some of the other guys. And there he is, texting me all about it this morning. But it felt different, even though at halftime it seemed like, oh my God, because that's been the story to me the last like 3 and 4 years of Hokie tip-off games. It's like, oh my God, are we really going to lose to this team? And they'd pull away near the end and it'd be okay. But last night, even with that, it was me and you were chatting. Charleston Southern was shooting 60% from three. Yep. And it wasn't bad defense. They were just making everything. Where it was like, okay, you know what? They're hitting some unbelievable contested shots. I'd like to see maybe a little bit better perimeter D, but it's not atrocious like we've seen in the past. And then I unfortunately have to go put a kid to bed at halftime, and I'll walk back, and it's like 19-point lead in like 3 minutes.
Yeah. The points were coming fast and furious. Defense stepped up. They locked them down to start the second half, and some of those 3-pointers that we were missing in the first half started to drop as well. I mean, when you go, I think we finished the first half something like 16 or 17% from three, and then finished 32% for the night. So I mean, there was a big shift in the second half, and obviously they came back down to earth on the other side in the second half as well, finishing the night like 35.5 or something like that. So,
they came down to the more average, and I know I texted you and said, if they were just shooting average from three, this would be a 13-point game.
Oh, it was literally the threes that were keeping them in it. I mean, when you looked at the field goal percentage, we had the advantage, but they were hitting almost all their threes.
So there you go. Should have told Phil just come on tonight. He could have gave us a full recap. But tell me impressions of Neo. First time live on the court and everything. What was your impression to him just in general?
It's so cool seeing Virginia Tech with a big guard. I'm not used to it. Having having a guy that can facilitate, get his own shot, the effective shooter. Um, it's it's going to be interesting watching how he develops and how he starts being a little bit more probably aggressive offensively with getting his own shot and things like that. But I mean, in terms of facilitating the offense, running the offense, I mean, it was crisp, man. I was really excited to see him out there.
Yeah, the one thing I say, and I mentioned this, I know I mentioned it to Phil today in a text, was him. Somebody mentioned it, and it was true. He was looking to distribute last night.
Yeah,
And he got 8 assists with 8 points. He did not have the best of shooting games, but
nine
there were
assists.
just a
Yeah,
nine
nine
assists. Oh,
assists.
excuse me, I missed an assist there.
Yep.
9 assists. But there were two plays that vividly remember watching. The first was pretty early when he sort of just decided he was going to take the ball to the rack, and there was no one that was going to stop him. And that when he did that, and he made that layup. It was like we always have talked about it. Tally always has talked about it. Even Sheldon has always talked about it. We never had that guy to just, you know what? They're on a 10-0 run or they're on a 5-0 run. They've cut it to 1. We need a bucket. Go make a bucket. That little move where it was a layup, and then second half, he didn't need to do this. We're up like 26. He makes a move in and freaking hits a step back fadeaway. And you just look at it, and it was just like that guy had absolutely no shot to stop that shot. Having that's exciting with him. Now, what I'll say is Toby Lawal and Hansberry, man, it feels good having guys get double digit rebounds.
Double digit rebounds. Hansberry with 19, Lawal with 20. You look at the first half, you might want Toby to be a little more efficient with his shot selection, right. But like I've got, we finally have you got a dynamic perimeter player, you got a dynamic front court player. I mean, players now. I feel like we're finally a roster that feels complete front to bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. And then bench help too. I mean, well, first of all, the Toby Lawal alley oop early in the game. Good Lord. I don't know who threw that assist, but I felt like it was about 3 feet back here, a little bit too far back, but Toby and his bunnies just up and got it. But the other part, in kind of knowing the players coming off the bench, with a big guy like Grudick coming off the bench and Shoot coming off the bench where he should be coming off the bench, and Ben Hammond, knowing that you have those type of players that can come off the bench, a nice 8-man rotation. I know a couple other guys got playing time, but in my opinion, the 5 starters with Grudick, Hammond, and Shoot are going to be the core 8. If somebody else develops and can get you 10 off the bench for defense, rebound, whatever, wonderful.
Yep.
But I think just having known guys and you know what they can do off a bench, it's just so nice to have, because when Ben Hammond come off the bench and did what he did, dropped, what do you have, like 7, 8 points, 9 points last night? Points, yep. That's so refreshing. And I know it's Charleston Southern, everybody. And I know I'm trying not to get my hopes up, but it's like in the past, it's not been that way.
Yep.
It has not been that way.
It hasn't been where you can go to 3 or 4 deep off the bench and feel really good about it. And I feel like they've got 4 bench players that they feel pretty good about. And then on top of that, you've raised the baseline of your starting 5 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's big time, man. I mean, you got guys that were playing super meaningful minutes last year, and they're a bench piece, and it's still a solid bench piece, but you've raised the floor and the ceiling of what this basketball team can be.
100%. And again, it's the couple guys coming off the bench are pretty young guys.
Yeah.
So hold on. There's a name here. Phil just threw out Dorn.
Antonio Dorn.
Did he even play last night?
He did not.
All right. To Phil, text me and educate me, Phil, on this kid. But I love, again, I text with Phil occasionally about stuff, and the next few games are going to tell a lot about the team. I mean, because, you've got Saturday, it's going to be Providence.
Yep.
Providence are what they are. It seems like forever Providence has always put good teams out. They're in the Big East. And then going and looking down after that, St. Joe's. St. Joe's, I know, have been sort of on a roller coaster ride. Feels like the last 15 years. Okay, he's a German and he's suspended. Yeah. What else is new? It's always somebody on the basketball team that's something's happening and screwing things up. Gambling, just leaving school just for the hell of it. But really, so Providence, St. Joe's, and then you get to Charlotte, Bryant. But Atlantis is going to be big. I think, regardless what the record is, I think this team is going to be tested enough for Mike Young to know the exact rotations, who he can trust, who he can't trust, et cetera, before we get into December. That's just the feel of it. Because we're going to be playing roughly 4 to 5 teams that are going to be good. And I think that's also been an issue, even though we've gotten some wins over the last few years leading up to ACC play. It's like there are games where you've got to try it, and it looks like this kind of worked, and then we get an ACC like, oh God, this is fucking terrible. What are we supposed to do here?
Well, I think the big thing too is that one thing we don't have to worry about this year that we've had to worry about really the last 3-4 years. I mean, some of that's outside of our control with all the shit that's happened with our point guard position, but we've got a point guard that matches up with any guard in the ACC. Sure. So when you get into that type of play, you at least know, you're not rolling out this undersized 6'0" point guard with a smaller wingspan that's going to struggle against those longer guards in the ACC. You're not going to have that this year. And
a big that can shoot.
Yeah.
A couple bigs that can shoot. So it's we'll see. If I mean it, I don't have. By the way, the game's on Peacock Saturday. Everybody, not ESPN. So I can't. There's some good programming on Peacock. I don't buy it because I got everything else under the sun. So maybe listen to the radio version.
Subscribe to the cock, Curtis.
Oh man, I got so many damn streaming subscriptions. It's not funny. And one's not YouTube. I'm not missing anything on ESPN. So for those who do, that was a shit show this weekend.
Yeah, man. They found a way to piss off
many people.
So many people. And I mean, you can point fingers all you want to. I think, both of them have a role in it here.
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Both of them have a significant role in it. And it's just the way of the world. It's just, this is the first time we ever saw it affect something.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's no good guys in this shit.
Like, oh no, they're all assholes.
Yeah, they're all just, they want to get theirs and they don't give a shit about the customers on either side of the coin there.
No, they don't do it at all. So yeah. Alrighty. So there's that. Sometimes we can roll right through when things aren't not interesting per se. But so Brian,
I think I know what you're going to ask me next. I've got a good idea.
Well, the question is do you think we have our next head football coach?
I think we have our next head football coach if that coach wants to sign on the dotted line. I think we have done all that we can do from a offer standpoint to make this a job that coach could and should take. The question is, does that coach and his agent think that there are better opportunities available for them elsewhere as the coaching carousel rages on?
Well, and everybody had to be thinking about it because this thing started floating out there last week and then over the weekend, and then Auburn opens up Sunday. I don't think Auburn wants it. I don't think
No.
LSU wants it.
No.
I don't think Florida wants it. I think Arkansas does, but I don't think he's going to go to Arkansas. So,
and then you got whatever the fuck might or might not be going on at Florida State.
Okay. We've had the Florida State discussion, and I'm going to say it aloud. I may have said it in the past. If Florida State fires Mike Norvell and gives Franklin the amount of money we think they have to give him to land there, they're going to have a few years of their NIL is going to be about half-assed. Maryland's not open, Phil. It was a scam from somebody, and I don't think he goes to Maryland.
I wouldn't go to Maryland.
I wouldn't go to Maryland.
The only thing good about Maryland is that the proximity to two of the nearest target, or so I've been told.
Well, the other thing about Maryland is, so you're going back into the Big Ten, and now you're like the 13th best team, not the 4th. And their budget ain't there. Their facilities ain't there. You can say what you want to say about it. I don't think he goes to Maryland. I think soon, maybe. I mean, hold on. This is fun. This is why I like talking right now.
Yeah, I don't think Maryland matters regardless, but it certainly doesn't matter right now because it's not an available job. And I don't think they are savvy enough to start floating stuff out there with a potential hire until they've at least established what it's going to cost them to get out of where they're at and what funds they would have to package together after the fact.
There you go. Maryland's broke, and they would owe Loxley just right at $13.5 million for a buyout. So yeah, the coach in waiting, and then he leaves, and then they fire Fridge, and Fridge is the mentor and everything. But obviously everybody's reading reports, everybody's seeing things about what's going on. And the whole question is, it seems like, we all question the committee. Like, is this the right way to go? I think they've hit it pretty spot on because I also think floating like this, like everything that's floating out there, if he leaves us at the fucking altar, which is possible. I'm a pretty optimistic person, but it's very possible he leaves us at the altar. Well, then you're going to basically have your choice of anybody else.
You're not in any worse position than you were earlier.
Nope.
And you took your best shot at arguably the best reasonable candidate for that position. Mm-hmm. And I say reasonable. I think there are potentially better candidates out there that, if you throw enough money at are, would be nice, but I don't think they had a chance of coming to Virginia Tech. So you went with the most logical and best reasonable candidate, and you did everything that you could to offer him the job as the next head coach of Virginia Tech. If that's not what he wants to do, then it is what it is. But I don't think it would be for lack of trying and packaging, at least from a financial standpoint, what was needed to go there. Now, if we want to talk, is he shying away because of some other structural components of Virginia Tech? That's obviously a different conversation and something we can address. But I think as constructed currently, I think that the committee has done about as good as they could do given the hand that they were dealt.
Yeah, given the hand they were dealt, but laying it on the table like they've effectively what people are saying, reports are saying has been laid out to him. First of all, I don't think anywhere else he'd have as much control. Because I think they're giving him the keys and saying, do whatever you want to do with it. because it's yours. Hire whoever you want to hire, GM, whatever. It's yours. I don't think he gets that anywhere else.
Yeah.
I honestly don't. But as far as it goes, can we do anything else? Well, who's out there? Does he want to take it off? I'm gonna put this up here real quick. I don't necessarily think it's an ego shot, Jim. First of all, he's got his recruiting footprint, and that does matter. It really does matter. The second thing is, we're a passionate fan base. We have some crazies. I think somewhere like Florida, LSU hired him. The first thing about 90% of their fan base would say is, "Why the fuck do we hire a damn Big Ten retread?" That's the first thing they'd say.
That's out the gate. That's before you even talk about the
big game
and even beyond that, the expectations that come attached with even second tier SEC jobs.
That, to me, it's not second. The Arkansas is a third tier SEC job.
I'm talking about like LSU. I'm talking about LSU and Auburn.
LSU's first tier. LSU has a ton of money, passionate fan base, great recruiting territory. Them in Florida are tier 1. Auburn's a tier 2. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I can agree with that.
LSU is 1 though. But also, I don't think LSU. First of all, y'all thought we had a shit show in Blacksburg with everything going on. Please tell me, you want to make yourself feel good about Virginia Tech's athletic department? Go read what's going on down at LSU. Because good Lord Almighty. I read and listened like, yeah, this is good. The other thing is, and Brian, I want to discuss this. I think it's secondhand, but it's rumors. Potentially the reason he got fired from Penn State is Penn State's AD meddling in what players he felt they should go after. And there was a story report saying, "Hey, James, we should be going after these players." I hate Whit Babcock, but I don't think Whit Babcock would ever have the balls to do that to any of his head coaches that he's had over all the years. So,
yeah, I agree.
Well, let's talk. We got a little time because again, the game is what we thought it was going to be. Nothing crazy. If you have to say right now, let's go through the big jobs. Who do you think is going to take? Who are you landing on with like Florida right now? Like if you had to say that's going to be Florida's guy.
Man, I don't know. That's really tough because I mean it's one of those jobs that like it's tier 1. There's a lot of benefits there, but it's such a difficult place to I think win consistently because of the competition for recruits within the footprint, the expectations that the program has. I don't know, man. I don't know. What are you leaning forward so far?
I've said this a couple times. If Lane Kiffin wants it, it's his. But
for the reasons I just said, I don't know if Lane Kiffin wants it.
Well, that's the whole thing. The discussion here in this week is Ole Miss has always not been considered a top tier job. And I also think if Lane stays there and if he keeps doing what he's doing, that fan base, he's got job security for 4 to 6 years. He'd have to really start stinking up the joint to effectively get fired. Where in Florida, he could go down there and pull close to what Dan Mullen did and be out in a heartbeat. So I'm kind of off the Lane train to Florida, and this might shock you. I really think it's going to be Golish from USF.
Okay.
I think he fits it. I think especially being a defense or offensive coordinator up at Tennessee, I think that's probably where they're going. He's been at South Florida a few years now, probably understands the culture of the high schools down there, especially South Florida. Being a smaller Florida school, you know you're going to be recruiting the state even heavier than a Florida does because you're trying to find all the 3 stars and all the diamonds in the rough. So I think it's going to be Alice Golish there.
I could definitely see that. I could see that playing out exactly like you said there. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense from a footprint standpoint, having history down there, but it's, I think it's still probably going to come down to whether Lane wants it or not.
It is. It is. And he's got to make that decision. And if Ole Miss opens up, then there's obviously residuals, but it's going to be in any case. Yeah. But let me flip this one to you. I'll try to get you to answer it. Of the next 3, I'm gonna give you because these are to me, Florida and LSU. You can replace 1, 2. Of the next 3 tier, Penn State, LSU, and Auburn. Who's more screwed? As far as hiring the next
Penn State, LSU, or Auburn?
Who's more screwed?
It might be Auburn.
Okay.
It might be Auburn. Only because I think maybe pecking order wise, they're gonna probably be third there. At the same time, you pointed out LSU structurally is a dumpster fire. You've got Penn State having buyer's remorse or seller's remorse on the James Franklin deal. So, none of those situations are easy. All of them come with expectations. I think at least when you look at the expectations for LSU, they'll probably have an easier job backing that up with output. Whereas I think when you look at some of the struggles that an Auburn or a Penn State has, you're going to have the same level of expectations, but you're going to be working with one arm behind your back relative to the best of the competition in your conference. So you're going to have to deal with that and still be expected to win 10 games every year.
Yeah. See, I think Penn State's more because people are going to everything that happens at Penn State, it's going to be where are they compared to James? Did they do this? Did they do this? I know Phil just put in there Brent Key going there. I mean, he's a good coach. The only thing I would question with him is that man, he never coached above Western Carolina a day in his life. And it is, again, a different beast. Ooh, put what Jim put in there. Heartline. That's interesting. What, first-year OC gets a job? I mean, what do you think about
that? You know what? That would probably be if I'm Penn State. That might be a best case scenario considering what hand I've kind of put myself in to this point. I think it's you're getting a little dicey because you're bringing in a first-time head coach, but I think the connections that he has, he could put a staff around him that would work out pretty good.
Phil, you want us to hire a guy who's been an OC for 1 year at Ohio State and he's never coached anywhere but Ohio State? Hard pass. He's not going to Wisconsin either. Maybe, Jim, if you're right, you can come on here and stretch stuff in a month or so here.
And I mean, I get people have strong feelings about Franklin, but at the same time, when you look at who is available and you look at who is realistic for Virginia Tech, it's hard to find a more capable candidate than James Franklin. Again, you might think he's slimy, you might think he does that, but I'm okay if we go out and get a headhunter for 2 to 4 years and he's off to the next stop because I just want to win. because once you start winning, it's easier to keep
a lot
winning.
easier. A lot easier. Can I throw a name for you? Nobody's talked about at LSU. At least I haven't seen much. And it wouldn't be shocking because if you see him coaching the Maniac, he's a young guy. Kenny Dillingham from Arizona State to LSU. I think he's psycho enough and crazy enough. He could probably handle that down there.
Yeah.
That wouldn't shock me. So it's such a funny cycle because everybody else is G5s. Summerall, Silverfield, and a lot of these guys are basically, are basically getting $3 to $4 million pay raises because they just mentioned their name. Like, hey, just float my name out there. Let the school hear it. So I think it's going to be like in a month. It's going to be really interesting to see where everything lands because I think UCLA and Stanford, they're going to stand pat. UCLA is so screwed up financially, they can't afford a big payday. Yeah. I think Oklahoma State, I told you, it was one of our picks last week. That North Texas head coach is going to take that kid up to Oklahoma State.
Hey,
sure, Phil. Sure,
you know what, Phil?
That sounds reasonable.
I would believe the first part of that more than the second part.
I wouldn't read. True. Let me ask this to you and then to everybody else, those who are out here in the chat, Jim, Phil, a few of y'all. Is Jeff Brom going to leave Louisville? Because if he wins a few more games, whew.
Yeah. That's a great question because I think it would take the extremely correct fit and amount of money to get him to leave Louisville. But I think that does potentially exist. Do we want to talk about what Jim just put out there?
Sure.
All right. What about our backup to Franklin, PJ Fleck or Chesney?
Okay, of those two, go Bob Chesney.
You think so?
Yeah. Swing for the fences. Don't swing for a CNI single.
All right.
And no disrespect to Fleck, he's done a good job at Minnesota, but I think a few things. First of all, he's coached nothing but the Midwest. It's a Fuente type situation again when it comes to recruiting and understanding what's around you. He's done nothing but Western Michigan and Minnesota. That's all he's coached at.
Yeah.
That is not footprint. That is not understanding the culture down here. I think he is a good coach, but I don't think it fits. And again,
if we were going in that direction, I feel like, I think Matt Campbell would make more sense than.
Fuck yeah, he make more sense. At least he coached in southern part of Ohio versus way out there.
Yeah.
And
that's no like.
No disrespect.
If Fleck ends up being the hire, I think it'll.
Can live with it, but
I can live with it, but it's not. It doesn't. I don't think it excites anybody. I don't think it's necessarily. It's not a ceiling raising move. It might be a floor raising move, but it wouldn't be a ceiling raising move.
Well, if he does get hired, that's literally the first thing that has to happen. He has to go to the duck pond. He has to row across it.
Is he gonna get a new hashtag?
What? No. Row the boat still works.
Just keep row the boat.
Keep rowing the boat. The other thing is, where was it? I think your Bob Chesney move. I think it just the guy is a winner. It's you know what? It's very similar to Kirk Cignetti. Kirk Cignetti started D3, won. He went to Elon. He won. He won. He won. He won. And if you look at Chesney, 127-51 as a head coach, and he has roughly been a head coach since 2010.
Me either. I'm with you there, Sean. It's not
bullshit. Brian would get an orange sweater based on a maroon tie and a heartbeat on this show. See,
no,
guys,
I mean, I not the tie.
you pull it off. You pull off a sweater vest and tie. You really could. That beard of yours.
You know what? You flatter me, Curtis. You flatter me.
All right, that's but back to Chesney. I mean, it's nothing but winning. It's
see
again.
I like this concept, but at the same time, I like the idea of we have this money. Let's actually put it to fucking use and not just get the next guy that we can get.
I'm with you on that.
And I'm not saying anything's wrong with that mindset, Steven. Putting out there Chesney wouldn't cost a lot either. Like, I get that.
But you want to throw your nuts on the table and say, listen, we're playing with big boy money now.
Well, at this, Chesney, I think, when you talk about the money coming in, he's not going to cost a lot, but he's also not going to do is bring you in a lot of money. He's not a guy that's going to go out there and glad hand the donors out the gate. He's got to win 8 games in the first 2 years before people are going to really open up their wallets. And beyond that, I don't know if much less than that is going to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not going to get the immediate buy-in from the donors, from a lot of the fan base that someone like James Franklin would get.
And then there's still other guys out there. Like, I mean, who thought
he who must not be named?
Who?
He wears a cock on his hat.
Oh no. Pretty much per the South Carolina fan base, him firing Mike should have bought him a year. He did what he did. Can I say it? And everybody in here is probably old enough to know this. He did what his daddy never could do.
That's fair.
I mean, how many?
Well, it took
years? It
took him too long to do it.
But no, it didn't. Though. Shula just got hired this year.
Well, no, I'm saying Frank.
He still never fired the guy.
Yeah,
he kept him on staff.
He demoted him. And
he took it.
And he took the demotion. So I mean, there's you don't take a demotion if you don't think it's warranted.
Yeah, there you go. There's still a lot of second options out there. And again, I think having the one thing that's going to talk is money talks. And I think the agents talk to each other. There's now probably a few people out there who would consider us because now they know, you know what? They can give you $9.7 million. They can dump X amount of dollars into NIL, into your assistant coaching pool. If anything, as crazy as it sounds, what the last 2 weeks has done is raise the profile of the program and of the job itself.
It's true, because we were able to bite early, and because we got tied to James Franklin pretty early in the process. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got a lot of people talking about the Virginia Tech job, and also not just talking about the Virginia Tech job, but talking about what that job means, what it's about. Mm-hmm. What we can offer. I think, getting those things out into the sphere is going to raise the profile of the job overall, to hopefully give us a little bit of a better pool if Franklin ends up not being the guy. I know that we already have potentially, they talked about 2 to 4 names getting passed from the committee. I'm sure there's 2 to 3 guys that they've got that have been vetted that just haven't got into full-on contract negotiations because we were dealing with Franklin first.
True. I'm going to make this real quick. Our wonderful sponsor, Jeremy, made mention of this. Pete Macciato is the new mayor of Blacksburg.
Hey.
That's big. Pete, very well known as business friendly. Pete, very well known as university friendly. Beat Salamander guy. Yep, that's who he is. I'm not saying his name. He's Salamander guy that made that damn walk from Center Street a pain in the ass when he fucking stopped the wood off. Pete, can that be the first thing you do is open the woods back up from Center Street to Lane to make it a hell of a lot easier? Thank you.
Oh man, Jeremy just threw salamanders are back on the menu.
That's good. Oh my gosh. So yeah, but the whole thing. Somebody made a mention. Has there ever been a hire this early in the cycle? No, but there's also never been someone of James Franklin's caliber open this early in the cycle.
Yeah,
there just hasn't. There just hasn't been that, and there's still those. There's still your Jimbos and guys like that who are out of coaching that won't back in. Listen, Brian's cautiously optimistic. I can be optimistic. If in a month I'm not optimistic, we got real problems. Because
like I said, man, I'm gonna be optimistic. Whatever I'm dealt, I'm gonna look at it slightly on the glass half full side, but I'm still keep it within the frame of reality. I'm not gonna just put on the rose colored glasses and call it a day, but at the same time, I try to look for whatever our situation is, try to find the positives in it, find things that we can look at and hold on to as we move forward. And I'll do that whoever the coach is, and we'll go from there. But obviously, I think if you're asking me right now if I'd be happy with James Franklin if he ends up signing on the dotted line, I would say yes. I think that's probably the best candidate that's available right now. That is a reasonable candidate that I think could come here and have some success out the gate. I still wouldn't have a problem with putting Mullen in there, but I don't know how feasible Mullen is at this point. When you look at some of the other candidates that we had talked about on here, it's really hard to see more than a handful potentially being in play. So I'm hoping that the Franklin thing works out, and if not, we'll see who those next 2 to 3 guys behind him are.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead, Brian. Let's talk some football because it has been, gotta say, regardless what you've been watching, the last month has been extra entertaining in college football, and it feels like it's always this way. This weekend, there's again just good games all over the place. There's sneaky games, and let's get some big screeners. Unfortunately, Brian had a rough weekend. We're officially on the fade season.
You know what, man? It's been the last 2 weeks have not been good to me. They have not been good to me at all. I backed up a 0 for 4, a big old donut with a 1 for 3, 1 in 3 week. So it hasn't been a good run for me. I'm still not out of the weeds here. I still have some potential ground to make up. I've got we got 5 weeks left in the regular season here.
Hey, listen, everything football wise, Yahoo or picking is not been good for me.
I just got to gain 2 games on Shelton Tally every week going forward, and I'm right back in it.
Yeah, it's been rough this year, and the whole thing is if there hadn't been a couple hooks, I think we'd probably all be close to 500, if not slightly over. The hook is just
hire Tally. I'll be the OC.
There you go. All right, there's what that is. A bunch of good games this week, even though they couldn't be with us tonight. Shelton and Tally always making their picks. So let's start it. I got the first game as the Oregon Ducks go visit Iowa Kinnick. Hawkeyes laying 5.5 or getting 5.5 at home. And there was one reason I picked the game the way I picked this game. It's a 3:30 kick, not a night game. Oregon wins by at least a touchdown. If this was a night game, I would have taken the Hawkeyes in a heartbeat because bad things happen to ranked teams at Kinnick at night.
It's true. And it's not a night game, so
Oh,
Sheldon, Tally, and I am riding with you as well.
Oh, God.
Nothing but donuts on the board, baby.
So everyone now knows take Iowa in the points because we all picked it. All right.
If you ride with BCP, you're losing money.
But if you fade us, you're rich.
That's right.
I think the only reason Tally chose this one this week is I think South Carolina's off, aren't they?
They're off, and I think he said one of these teams is firing a coach.
That is exactly what he said. Shane ain't playing. Somebody's getting fired after this game, which I don't think.
Whoever loses is getting fired, is what he said.
I don't think anybody's getting fired. Because Dabo's buyout's pretty big, too. I don't know if it's $54 million big. Let me look at that real quick.
Yeah, Florida State has a buyout money problem, and that's usually not a Florida State problem, but they put themselves in the situation where getting rid of their guy and getting a guy they actually want is going to be a problem.
Ain't nobody firing anybody. You know what Dabo's buyout is?
What you got?
It's higher than Norvell's.
No shit.
It's $60 million.
All right. Well,
this is just
the suck bowl. This is the
suck bowl. The suck bowl with talented players.
Exactly. Suck bowl with talented players. This is the purgatory of the college football.
And then this has been pointed out numerous times on social media network this week. The two teams who bitched, threatened to sue, and leave the ACC because they won't get enough money. You know where this game is taking place, TV-wise?
Where is it?
ACC Network, non-Nielsen effective. But
serves them right.
In Death Valley, right. Clemson land the 2.5 home spread as normal, and Tally says
FSU.
Brian says
I went the other direction, man. I think when we talk about, I talked about it earlier with the inconsistent play. I think Florida State is just way too damn inconsistent, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I think you're going to see Clemson not be good, but they'll be good enough.
I am the exact opposite of you. I think against Wake Forest last week, I think Florida State found the mojo while Clemson lost to Duke in a 91-point game. And they lost it in Death Valley. And, there's games that break people's wills. I think that might have been the game that broke the will, where vice versa. I think the Wake game may have woke up Florida State. Knowles. Shelton rides with
Clemson.
Was he paying attention to your picks?
He probably wasn't. If he was, he did the wrong thing.
Why, Shelton? Why? All righty. Next. Sneaky good game Saturday night.
Yep.
Sneaky.
It's creeping in there.
I mean, I almost picked this one, but I don't because for some reason, Shelton pays attention to BYU significantly. I don't know why. He's mentioned it in the past. But this game, it's in Lubbock, high noon, so 11 o'clock start, which if I was Texas Tech, I'd be absolutely dismayed because this is the stupidity of Fox. Well, no, this is ABC has this game. This is the stupidity of ABC. This is like the biggest game of the week. This should not be a noon kick. It should not be even close to a noon kick.
Nope.
If you look at other top 25 matchups, the night games it's like LSU, Alabama is the night game. LSU's dead in the water. Alabama somehow got ranked 4, even though they lost to a 4-loss team. Losses don't matter. It's just who your name is. Texas Tech lays 9.5. Shelton rides with
Texas Tech.
Guns up, he says. Tally?
TT.
Guns up.
Hey, that 9.5 is fishy to me. That 9.5 is fishy to me.
Well, it's put it up there. especially to me too. BYU's unbeaten, and I know you can look at strength of schedule, strength of record, and all that stuff. It's like, well, who have they played? And it's like, well, you know what? They're 8-0. They may not have the best of who they played, but getting 9.5 is a ton. I don't know who wins a game, honestly. If this was a night game, I might could see Texas Tech beaten by 10. But a day game, it just sucks. Top 10 matchup, 10 noonday game. Get out of here, ESPN. Just get out.
Yeah, I can't believe they're doing that again. But
it's just like, but
they don't have the right logos, man.
They don't have the right logos. All righty. Last one, Miss Siegler.
Hey, man. I saw this. I was like, you know what? The line on this alone is kind of funny as well. Mizzou getting 6.5 at home. I like A&M in this one. I think if this was 7.5, I would have went Mizzou. If this was 7, I probably would have went Mizzou. 6 and a hook. I'm gonna go A&M here.
By the way, yes, the starting quarterback for Missouri has been out. I think he's been ruled out with this game. It feels like this is what Texas A&M does. They get to 8-0, they get to 7-0, and there is a game they should win, and they just don't. And I think getting points at home, I'll take Mizzou.
All right. Shelton is riding with you. And Tally, for whatever reason, decided he was going to ride with me on this one. And I think it's solely because Mizzou's quarterback is out.
Mizzou's quarterback's out. It's funny. We all voted the same on Oregon, and each of us rode with you on one of our other picks.
You know what, man? Y'all are rolling the dice.
Every single one of us. It's like we didn't fade you. Like, he can't keep being wrong. Eventually, he's got to be right.
Hey, at least, potentially I can make up some ground on somebody as I'm going. I should at least make up, if I get things right, I can make up one game on everybody.
You can make one game up on everybody. Exactly. All right. So there that is. Let me go to Twitter. Nothing's came out, has it? On election night.
Other than the Pete nailed it, so in Blacksburg, so that's a good deal. I think you talk about bar friendly, business friendly, university friendly, infrastructure friendly.
Yeah, it's what you need. It's what you need right here. It's a big win for if you are a fan of Virginia Tech, the school. Love the town of Blacksburg. You want to see it grow and figure out how to do things versus just sitting on your hands like some people have been doing. Really good thing. All right. Anything else, Brian, coming through the wire as it's a little after 10 here?
Nothing on this end, buddy.
All right. Let's wrap up this episode of the Boundary Corner podcast, brought to you by the Counts Family Pharmacy in Blacksburg and Moments on the Moor in Lexington. I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
We are part of the College Huddle Network. Visit our website, boundarycornerbt.com to listen to all of our episodes. While you're there, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, any of your favorite podcast sources, we are on them all. As always, we let our buddy Jason Long play us in, play us out. Visit his website, jasonlongmusic.com, where you can link to all of his music on all sorts of different platforms. Also, check it out for his different live performances down in the New River Valley, Roanoke area. We appreciate y'all for listening. Always a fun night in the chat as it's been lately. And as always, let's go.
Hokies.